Alright, welcome everybody. Today we'll be learning about basic transformations in After Effects. So, to get this started off, let's just go ahead and be in our default workspace. It doesn't matter the time. I just have it at 30 frames per second. And then I'm going to come up here to my toolbar. I'm going to press this rectangle tool so that we can learn these basic transformations on this little shape that we will create. So I'm just going to click and drag and create this little square looking thing here. Now, if I go back to my selection tool up here at the top, or I can just press V, that'll take me back to my selection tool. I will get back to my kind of regular looking mouse. And you'll see down here that we now have this shape layer with this rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and click this transform button, kind of toggle that down. And now right here is where all of our basic transformations are. Anchor point here we will actually learn in a later video because we can go a lot more in depth with what anchor points are. But anchor points are basically just like this little guy right here. And like I said, we'll go over that in a later video. Here we have position. Now position just shows us where the box that we have created will be. And if I just click and drag here on this first kind of number next to position, this is my X coordinate. You'll see it just kind of moves horizontally. And then the next one is the Y coordinate, and I can click and drag that and move it up or down. And I can even just come in here to my little viewfinder area, and I can click and drag the box, and you'll see down at the bottom left that it is changing my position coordinates accordingly. Now, if you know exactly where it needs to be at, if you happen to know the numbers, you can actually just come in here and click and say, hey, I want this at 800, and I want this at 500. Boom. Now, next is scale. Scale is how large your object is. So since I created my square like this, it believes that this is the original 100% scale size. Now, I can also click on this, click and drag on this, and it will become larger or smaller depending on where I drag. Or I can even come in here, and there's this little chain right next to scale. If I click on that, it will separate the X and Y scaling coordinates, basically. So if I click this down, it'll just adjust the left and right side of my scale. And then I can do the same with my Y scale coordinate. So that's pretty cool, pretty handy to be able to know. Moving right along, we have rotation. Now there's also two numbers for rotation. This first one is how many rotations there are. So if I literally just come in here and press 1, it will not change anything at all because it is rotated my rectangle here a full 360 degrees, which technically shows no change. But we can come into here to this other one, and you'll see if I click and drag on this, it will start that rotation, and you can use anything in between a singular rotation based on the degrees over here. And again, a reminder that all of these that are in blue, you can also just click in and put in a specific amount that you want to do. So I can put in 180 pretty easily. Doesn't really work very well with a rectangle, but you can rotate something 180 degrees like that. Now, the last one is opacity. Probably the easiest one here is opacity. Opacity just means how transparent your object is. So if I were to put this, just click and drag it down, you'll see that the background is starting to show through my white rectangle that I have here. Or I can even just make it fade away entirely. But the object is still there because we can see these little bounding boxes showing where our rectangle is. This will be, a lot of these basic transformations will be more useful in our next video when we learn how to keyframe them and how to create animation with those keyframes with all of this. So definitely stay tuned for the next video where we can talk over that as well. Okay, that's it for this video on basic transformations. Join us next time for keyframes.